Whatevs. Yeah.
20-year timeout. It's been 20 plus years, dude. Chris Parks, what's going on?
Not too much, man. I mean, well, everything at the same time. So.
Thanks for coming out.
Yep. Thanks for having me.
How weird is this?
It's slightly weird, but let's start it off like this. The word weird actually is, it comes from Shakespeare. When he wrote in Macbeth, the three weird sisters, which was spelled W-Y-R-D, they were witches, sisters of the fates. And when we say, oh, that's weird, don't think of it as like odd or out of place, but think of it as fated to be.
So something I remember about you back in the day, I feel like you were always philosophical.
Okay.
So right there,
right.
Okay, so you haven't changed much.
No, not really. A lot of things about me do stay pretty rigid, fixed, but I can bend when I have to.
Sweet. So just to like get comfy here and just like settle back in, I kind of wrote like a dry couple points that we could hit, but we don't have to hit them.
Okay.
I was kind of wondering, like, what were your first thoughts when I reached out to do this?
First, I was like, oh, Rich just messaged me, and I was like, that's kind of out of the blue, When you mentioned it, I instantly was like, that sounds like a great idea, and I would love to be a part of it. I think it can take off, honestly.
Sweet. What is, like, something you remember about the last time we hung out?
Specifically, just being in that apartment, trying to give you guitar lessons, you coming over with your acoustic guitar. And I mean, the specific thing that pops out is weed. Like we were just getting together, blazing a little bit, and seeing if I could teach you a few things, on the git fiddle.
Kumbaya.
Did we play that?
So, what I remember, like when I first realized that you were super rad, was I think an 8th grade talent show.
Yeah.
You and a couple of the guys. Everyone was doing kind of like quiet talents, and then y'all came out bumping Korn. I think not Got the Life.
It was Blind.
Blind, okay, because that has that opening guitar and bass.
Right, that sick intro, and then all of a sudden, Are You Ready?
Yeah, okay, so I was like, this is getting out of hand. Like, everyone is starting to act a little bit wild for Catholic school 8th grade talent show.
Right.
And I was looking around waiting for like teachers to shut it down, but they let it play through.
Yeah.
So that was like my first introduction to like, okay, I know who Chris Parks is now. I don't think anyone realizes how cool he is. But then after that day, I think everybody realized that
at least
that group was like the group to hang out with.
Okay. So it's funny because I never thought of it outside of my perspective and what I experienced on stage that night. And I mean, that's pretty cool, like to, hear that third person. I remember like some of the teachers were like, oh my, like Miss Small, for instance. She was like, oh my God, that's Chris Parks. Nobody expected that out of me necessarily because I was typically quiet at school. I wasn't like a rowdy rambunctious, causing trouble or any of that, or, getting called to the office or whatever. And then, we get up on stage and here I am like mimicking Jonathan Davis, like you said, at a Catholic high school. And that probably did make some people feel a little uneasy.
Well, I was the reverse of that. I was always in the office. I was loud. I was a class clown. I was like all over the place with friend group.
Right. That's funny because like what I remember of you was like, first popped in my head just now, getting put in the locker.
I was small enough to do
fit into a locker. I think I in fact remember walking into the locker room and seeing you come out of one and being like, wait, what's going on?
That was probably 8th grade, 7th and 8th grade. I
want to say it was 7th grade because we were in that building. It was, the smaller building because we had different lockers in high school.
Yeah, because Eddie Demarsky used to always like call me a shrimp and like, throw me around. So then I would always like make fun of him too. Like I would come into the classroom with my backpack with my pants sagging. I'd throw my bag against the wall. Mimic him and
do the things he did.
Sit on all his books because for some reason he had all his books out.
Yep.
Yeah, he probably was the one throwing me in the locker.
It was either that or you were just showing somebody you could fit. You know, I think like Lindsay
I don't.
Hall or somebody was in there. You know, it was
I don't
like
think I
Mike
was
Harnois.
against going in.
Right? No, you weren't. It wasn't like someone shoved you in there and got you in. You were just like, I think it was kind of like, look what I can do. But yeah, like I don't know. Thanks for thinking I'm rad. Thanks for having me. I'm definitely appreciative of this opportunity, and
Don't think I'm rude that I look back at my notes.
no,
This
not
is
at
a
all.
Pilot.
Right.
I'm like
we're kind of winging it here.
winging it.
Yep.
But what do you remember about that time in your life?
High school specifically.
Yeah, like when we started hanging out. We only hung out a couple times.
Right, because like high school was definitely intimidating, and I'm gonna say that you know, as somebody who's typically not intimidated much. You know, the most anxious I get in life is talking to a pretty chick or whatever, right? So high school and going to a brand new school or a Catholic private school at that. I remember being nervous and like thinking it was going to be all kinds of like stuff I wasn't into or like filled with experiences that were just like lame or whatever, right? I remember the first day it was like, we got to take religion. I was like, what is this? And like,
Did you come from public school?
I came actually like I went to it was out in Paxton. We technically grew up in Paxton. My dad's mom had a house out there, and K through 6 or K through 5 rather, we went to school out there. Then I went to Gates Lane in Worcester when they built the brand new school. My grandfather was an iron worker after he got out of the Marines, and he helped build the school. Then after that, this is the funny part. I actually went to Holy Name based on obviously taking the test to get in, but the whole reason why I took that test was because my parents were like, we're only going to take you to the wrestling event if you go take this test and get into private school.
WWF.
Yeah, exactly. At the time, it was still. And it actually, their competition, rather, it was WCW. It was a WCW pay-per-view at the Centrum. And so, of course, I go in, I take the test, I get into Holy Name, and boom, there it is. I specifically remember, you know, being not reckless or rowdy, but like, you know, typical kids. Like, you know, like you said, Jackass came out around that time. Skateboarding was in, Tony Hawk, Pro Skater, Nintendo 64, GoldenEye. Just chilling and vibing with my friends and really like, you know, go to school, get the work done, and just go have fun after that.
As a musician, did you take lessons or were you self-taught?
So I started by taking lessons because it was brand new to me. It was like in 1998. I grew up on Coase Street in Worcester, and there was a music store at the end of the road, right next to where the old Friendlies used to be. So it was called Music Mall. Met a guy named Wayne Powell there. He was my original instructor. I think I took years, maybe 2 to 3 years of instruction from him. After that, I did have another instructor. I don't remember that guy's name. There's a couple of them. I'd say up to 4 or 5 different guitar teachers for different styles and or different needs, really. And in between all those teachers, obviously there were some points where it was self-taught. I would come home after school and put on, like, let's say the new Static X album. I'd listen to it all the way through, and then I'd pick up my guitar and I'd start by ear trying to figure out all the songs in the album. And I would do that with most of the music I was into. So I was able to ear train really well. And I remember Mr. Burke at Holy Name was very impressed with how I could do that. And it's funny because I didn't get into the music program until after football. So it must have been like after freshman year, maybe sophomore year. And so after all that, like since all the instructions have been done, everything else has been self-taught. Everything else has been like studied on my own. As far as like writing and doing, you know, projects or pieces of music, I kind of wing that. Like no one's ever said, hey, this is how you do this, you know. And I think that's part of the reason why music is so alluring, because you can have that with the instruction and lessons, but then you can also go on your own and just create, you know. And there's no rules, rather. I mean, there might be certain things as far as like tonality goes, or like the key that something might have been composed in. But when I started out playing, none of that was a thing. the first instrument I ever played was a recorder in the fourth grade while we were at the school out in Paxton. And it was mandatory. Everybody had to learn how to read music. Everybody had to learn how to play the recorder. I thought it was really cool. I was like, well, this is better than sitting here and learning science or social studies or whatever it was. So music teacher was a wicked cool guy named Mr. Hebert. And there's a cool song that just pops in my head. It's Have You Seen the Ghost of John? I don't know if you remember hearing this.
I don't remember that.
Around Halloween time, he would bust out this like cool hanging skeleton, glow in the dark guy, and be like, "This is John," and then it would be like, "Have you seen the ghost of John?" and whatever. So we made it fun, and after that, we all had to pick an instrument. They didn't allow guitar because no one in the school could play guitar and teach. You'd have to have private lessons, and at that time, my parents didn't want to invest in that because what if I wasn't gonna keep after it. So that's why I played the flute in fifth grade, actually. And same deal as the recorder, slightly different movements, slightly different fingerings. But immediately after leaving that school and going into public school out here, or out in Worcester rather, I was like, I really want a guitar. And my first guitar, we drove out, I think, to Fitchburg. It was right around Christmas time. And my parents got me a Squier Strat Pack, which is a starter pack for beginner players. Not quite as expensive as a Fender. It's their sister company, or it was. I'm not even sure what's up with them these days. But yeah, cheapo guitar, a little cheapo amp, and I stuck with that same guitar. That was the one we played at the talent show. I want to say I did not get another guitar until I was 16. And then I got a 7-string because Korn. And then after that, I got another 6-string, which was like just cooler looking, whatever. After high school, though, I traded those guitars and got a much more expensive, and I wouldn't say what goes along with the expensive. It wasn't like this is a beautiful instrument and don't break it. It was kind of like
upgraded.
I upgraded to a different model that was A, more comfortable, B, sounded way better, and C, something I stuck with for 10 to 15 years. And if I buy another guitar today, it will be from that same company.
That kind of reminds me though, Bon Iver he wrote a really good breakup album at a barn. He's a musician,
Okay.
but he was going through some issues. And he went out to his family's barn, and he didn't make music for a month or something.
Yep.
And then he ordered a Sears acoustic guitar from eBay for $10.
Okay.
And he just started playing it with all of its imperfections.
Yep.
And then he made one of the greatest breakup albums ever. He did 12 tracks or something.
Okay.
And most of it is just on Pro Tools.
Yep.
SMB
Okay.
SMB7 or Shure microphone.
Yep.
And then that cheap tangy Sears guitar.
It's funny. My dad had I want to say, Mike Harner's actually had a guitar from Sears, and it had an amp built into it. And
Sick.
that was pretty cool. That was the first thing. He was his first guitar. Side story real quick. I remember smashing that guitar, but I'm not sure. We were just edgy kids being like, yeah, we could smash this, and Jimi Hendrix type shit. It didn't light anything on fire at that point, but guitar was still, whatever.
So when did you start making beats and your own music? Did that just transition right away? You got a software?
It kind of did, not immediately. So as we go into Holy Name, I was already playing guitar, only for a limited time. Then I had met Mike and Eric, and I got Eric to get a bass, so he started getting into music. Mike had already had that guitar, and he was kind of taking lessons and stuff. I kind of started writing stuff, I would say between 4th, 5th, 6th grade. I wasn't using an instrument, but I would write poetry. I would write ideas for songs, lyrics, stuff like that. So then once, I want to say I was in 8th grade, we met some kids at Holy Name, Chris Burke and Anthony Bridgeford. And it's funny, we met them because at the time we were juggalos, fans of Insane Clown Posse. So it actually was Chris Burke who sent me something and was like, hey, download this. And it was Fruity Loops 3.5 at the time. And I was like, what is it? What do you do? And he's like, I don't know, figure it out, learn it yourself. And I was just like, oh, shit. I was kind of like, well, what do I do, And then after he said that, it just kind of triggered me, and I was like, sure, I'll try to navigate the program, do my thing, whatever. The best part about this little phase was it was a pirated software, so I could not save anything, which forced me to open a project, start it to finish every time, no matter what. whether it was a day, 8 hours, or maybe a day and a half, whatever. My family would be pissed off at me because I'm in there making beats and the repetition. The music's kind of loud.
I would do the same thing. I would like bounce my stolen, pirated synths.
Yep.
And sometimes it would bleep out after like 16 bars or something.
Okay.
So sometimes I would just cut that out and
Yep.
then bounce it again, and then it
Okay.
wouldn't bleep out at that part.
Yep.
So I'd splice those two together.
See,
So
that's cool. That's funny. You got like that end of the thing, right? Before getting into Fruity Loops, I don't know who put me onto it. Actually, yep, the kid I was referencing earlier, who is out, working for Sony. His father was a musician, and so followed in his footsteps. He was a guitar player. When I met him, we went to school together out in Paxton. So I was already going over there, experiencing certain types of things where either his dad had played out, or he was jamming on a guitar, or whatever. So what was I going to say, damn it? Anyways.
See, this paper gets me pissed off too, because
throw the thing.
I try to I was like I want to follow
have
format.
a script or an itinerary.
You can't do that. You
No,
just need to
not
go
at
off the
all.
cuff, because if you look down at the paper, you
and you're
lose
gonna
what
track your
you guys are
thoughts
talking
sometimes.
about.
So it popped back in, and yes, I had experience with music, not making my own beats, but recording things with him. So he had Acid Music Studio, which was a computer software back in early or late 1990s.
Techno.
Yeah, a lot of people used it for that. He was using it to I think record guitar or something, and through him or one of his other friends, we'd all mutually jammed or whatever, because there was other kids I jammed with back then, not just our clique and stuff, but he had friends who were really good musicians, and we all started kind of getting together. And in fact, some of them played with me. Actually, they all played with me in the not 8th grade, but 9th grade talent show when we played Godsmack that time. And they weren't going to let us play because they're like, oh, these kids aren't from Holy Name. And I was like, but everybody else is doing this cheer shit, and everyone's got all these people. It was these are my band people. It's so they ultimately let us, which was great, because I thought that performance was better than Blind. But Blind's got a special place in my heart. And, the best part about that is I won a trip from WAF and went out, met Korn. I met Brian Head Welch when he returned to the band, Ray, the new drummer after David had left, and Jonathan Davis. And so everyone got to take pics with Head, the drummer. But right before Jonathan Davis is coming into the room, they were like, all right, guys, put away your phones, no cameras, there's certain rules, whatever, right? So I was like, oh, man, kind of bummed about it. But he came in, maybe 2, 3, 4 people before me, it was kind of hey, how you doing? Sign a poster, maybe give a hug, whatever, right? So he gets to me, and I was like, first off, man, sweet beard, because he didn't have one before, right? And I was like, I just want to tell you, you're a super big influence of mine. And I told him the story about the 8th grade talent show, and he laughed. As I mentioned, I said we performed Blind at an 8th grade talent show at a Catholic high school. He literally was laughing so hard, smiled big, and was like, that is great. I didn't expect that reaction, honestly. But I mean, I guess in hindsight, sure, because Korn was one of those edgy bands where the parents were like, oh, you shouldn't be listening to this, or they were pushing limits way back then. I'm surprised, honestly, that, we didn't get shut down doing Blind. That we had to put out...
They didn't know.
Well, that's the thing. We had to... You know what? I'm not 100% sure if we did for that. I was going to say we had to, present the lyrics to make sure there were no, expletives or anything too, taboo for the Catholic high school. So maybe that didn't happen for Blind, because that is definitely, taboo. So that part's actually hilarious. So, yeah, you're right. They probably didn't know.
Don't you wish that you could have the knowledge that you have now back then? Imagine...
Before that performance?
No, just when you're meeting Korn. For me, I always picture myself, imagine if I had maybe the words oversight to network the way I would do it now when I was younger.
Oh my God, no. Right now
Korn.
You gave me the chills, because I would have been hey, message me something. But this is back in 2013.
Let's keep in touch.
This was 12 years ago when I had met him. And
he might have saw something in you.
Right.
And he could have linked you with other people.
Right, exactly.
That your music career could have...
blasted off.
I don't know. Do you have a music career now? Do you have projects or unfinished stuff?
Currently, I do not have a music career. I do work in the music industry. I actually work downtown at the Palladium. Gonna be going to see one of my favorite bands tomorrow night, actually.
Which band?
We Came as Romans.
Is
They're like a metalcore band. They're from Detroit. I didn't get into them because of it, but I heard that they're like Christian based. I guess their
Which
first,
is popular in
their
that
first,
genre.
well, yeah, and they began back like I don't know, '05, like when we were getting out of high school. That's when they were like super young like us, and like I think we've got some years on them. But anyways, one of my favorite bands. They're definitely like a positive influence in my life, and a lot of the positive things I've done and or took part in were because of getting into them. And so I still play guitar from time to time. In fact, AJ, Mike, and I had a reunion show 2 years ago. It was Halloween 2023, I want to say. We performed and we were like, hey, we haven't played together in like 13 years. Everybody that performed that night and was at the show were like, you guys would never tell that you guys took any time off. And I said, wow, that's pretty amazing because all three of us literally just walked into Mike's recording studio, or me and Mike first. We had one night where him and I kind of worked out what we remembered at the time, which usually is my
Original
responsibility.
music or
All
covers?
original, all original. So
Okay, that's a different story.
yeah, it was all original. We hadn't played together in 13 years. We had to like, have me use my crazy memory and figure it all out because we only recorded 5 tracks for a demo back in like '09 or so. We self-recorded it in my bedroom at my family's house where, we grew up. My room was upstairs where the roof slanted, so it was hot as hell when we were trying to record the vocals. We got me, Mike, and AJ standing in the room, and there's a bed and shelves and maybe less than this space of the table in front of us. We're standing in there, sweating to death, screaming, because we were into the heavy metal, and we self-recorded and produced our demo. Mike might have some of that stuff still, which is cool. I actually have a track on my telephone of some of it.
Yeah, I'd like to hear it after.
Yeah, he remastered that track, and that's the one we got. But I had to figure out, like, I want to say maybe we only did play 5 or 6 songs, but when we were doing the live circuit, playing the Lucky Dog, Ralph's, Hotel Vernon a lot, we were playing in upwards of like 12, 15, sometimes like almost 20 songs. And there was a show actually where I want to say like first or second song in, I blew my knee out on stage and chose to keep doing the show. We were like,
Adrenaline.
yeah, I literally sat down for the rest of the show because I did blow my knee out. It was awful. It was painful. I at the time did weigh like, like I was saying, like 300 plus. And I'm playing guitar and I go to lean and kind of like, I don't know, it was a guitar stance, let's just say. And as I leaned, I'm actually having, not right now, but at the time, sciatica. There was all kinds of back pain going on, health issues. But I didn't think I was weak by any means. However, my strong leg, as I go to lean, I literally remember looking down and making the stance and having it go bam, like popped right out, and I went down. And I literally kept playing while I was on the ground. Got through the song, and I was like, yo, guys, I just broke my fucking leg, just because, honestly, you got to make fun of yourself sometimes. Maybe that wasn't the best situation to do it in. But, yeah, we finished out another, like, 12 tracks and did the whole show the whole night. I had to go get x-rays and everything else. It hurt for a long time, maybe a good month or two, but since I popped it back into place myself, and I was already on pain meds for the other thing, they were like, nah, you're fine. They're like, if you were an athlete, we would have done surgery. They said I technically gave myself a chalk block, like how in football they would do that. And they were like, just do lunges, like, 100 lunges or whatever. And I was like, this is kind of weird, physical therapy, this and that. There was no bone chips. So whatever, it healed. To this day, it's probably not 100%. Torn meniscus is what I'm guessing. Probably would have been beneficial to get that surgery. But it wasn't offered, whatever. Yeah, music always goes on. I'm never like unless there was a family emergency, I wouldn't stop the show. I'd do it until I died.
All those kids you hung around with, do you feel like you still hang around with them? Have some of them gone away? Like it feels like you still have a core group of friends.
I do. Definitely a lot of them have gone away, but like let's just say, how about you try to name like 4 or 5 kids that were in the group, and I'll say yes or no.
I don't.
You don't remember names?
names, and I don't think I have any friends from high school that I kept in contact with.
You know, and
honest.
that's
I'm
kind of cool.
Recluse.
Oh yeah, I mean,
introvert.
that's all right. All right. I am too, kind of like I'm either on. It's like I could go either way. It's like either I'm on social or I'm withdrawn and recluse. I've spent a lot of my life doing both. I'd say it's a good balance. You got to find the balance. But yeah, no, I'm friends with Mike. I'm friends with AJ. We still talk. They're my like day one fucking. They got me for life, you know. And like that's how I try to come into everybody's life. Like whether you're gonna stay in touch with me or not, or whatever, it fades away. I'm still that dude. I'm here for you. I'm like, you need help, I got you. Like, you know, if I can help somebody and be there for somebody, I am. And I feel like that's what got me to this place where I'm at now. People are willing to help me out if I'm struggling.
That's how you got to this seat, because I wanted some guitar lessons and just like some guidance on the instrument.
Yeah.
I really wanted to learn, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And you were just like, yeah, come over, we'll start jamming. I'll give you some worksheets. If you really dig, you know, guitar, we can talk about doing some lessons.
Yep.
You know?
It's cool that you referenced that, because the first teacher, Wayne Powell, that I said was at that music store, I did or modeled my approach in the same way that he taught me. And I remember specifically drawing out, you know, tabs and stuff for you and how something was going to be played the way that he did. And
I had those for years, by the way. 'Cause
yeah.
I'm like a collector.
Yep.
I keep folders of that stuff.
Okay. I used to be, there's so much, oh man, I keep doing this. And
No,
also,
it's all
I'm
good.
going to say, not to like make the video different, but I feel like the audio, whatever. Yeah. Anyways.
You too, you're good, because it's capturing everything.
I think so, but what I was worried about is my voice being stronger and yours not.
No, because
This
is a ghetto
See, I didn't.
setup.
I should have like thought that.
Lav mic. I have a condenser mic at home, and I was going to do phantom power through the H6.
Okay.
But that phantom power, that condenser mic is going to pick up everything.
Everything.
We got
You could hear me
neighbors, we
tapping.
got-
Yeah.
tapping.
I absolutely know what you're saying, because when we
This
went
is
to
the
go
Rel
record our
20.
stuff,
This
we
is
could hear
sick for
people down in the
broadcast.
house while we're trying to record the vocals, and I'm like, damn, everyone be quiet. I was like, we're trying to get this demo done, and all of a sudden you hear like people fighting in the kitchen, or like mom yelling or dad, whatever.
Yep.
So that's funny. Condenser mics are very powerful mics.
And these
Certainly
are very expensive, but great for broadcasting, because it's not going to pick up anything except for what's right here.
Right. There's a term for that too.
I don't know.
Certain mics are designed that way. Cadroid microphone, for instance, I believe that is the term. It's either that is what this is, or that's what the standalone.
Neighbors.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
What's up?
Yeah, what's up?
I thought they were like getting mad about it.
No.
Like, yeah, let me bring.
They shoot like.
I was gonna be like, let me bring the guitar next time.
They got smoke machines in here.
Oh
and
yeah,
everything.
that's cool.
It's
oh,
crazy.
Man, you should have told me before we went on camera. I was looking all haggard. What are you doing?
We're like only from here up.
Oh, good, even better. I wasn't doing nothing.
Yeah, look, you can't be showing my burnt ass legs on
Right,
camera.
man, and I can't, whatever.
Yeah,
but
no, I
man,
cropped it in good.
I'm gonna get up and go
before.
get that paper now, and I'm gonna look at what you wrote. But feel free to keep talking.
Yeah.
Was there something else, like, to get back to what we're saying, like, how do you feel then, or the music?
Oh.
Like, I started really making my own beats around 8th grade, so like 2000-ish, or 2001 and 2002.
Well, I've been thinking about this the whole time.
Yep.
The Boss. When did this?
The
when
Boss
did this
thing?
come- Yeah. What is
Oh,
that?
all
That's
right, man.
Your moniker, like I'm the creativity
yes,
scientist.
yes.
Rich marks the spot. You're the boss.
Yeah, and it's a whole big joke that no one's even in on yet. They just think I'm an arrogant, egotistical asshole, and I'm not. But
I didn't think that.
Yeah, I know you don't, but people who don't know me and
Oh,
see me places or see what I do or whatever it is, or just like, I don't know. It's actually part of a project I was trying to work on about 20 years ago now called We'd Be Famous.
I remember seeing that.
So I did at
I
one
can see
point.
the logo in my head.
That was the one thing I did. That's the only thing I did. We
logo.
have no episodes. We have no official site. We have no. I had like WeBeFamous.us. I owned it for a little bit, and this was right before the bankruptcy all happened, because I basically mismanaged a lot of funds after paying off all my credit cards, everything else. I was like, let me start this, entertainment company. I got my business certificate, everything else. And like I was putting together little gigs, doing entertainment stuff, like, around the city, trying to kind of model like a certain, independent business after what like big execs are doing, for the music industry at the time.
Which is popular now. Which,
Right.
Like, a
And
lot
this
of
was
these
in
little-
2015.
Yeah.
So I don't know exactly where the boss part came from or why I chose it then. But I mean, I can tell you why now. Because, first of all, I am the boss, but that's only of myself, my life, my choices, right? We're all our own boss. So that kind of ties into my, like,
the
philosophical
philosophical
thing.
shit. All right, let's keep it rolling.
Right. So what I want for the world, not necessarily just America, but I think this is the true dream, is that we all should be paid a living wage to exist. And that just means take care of your house, take care of yourself, take care of your family, make sure people have food, the basics, whatever. Basics should be provided. We should all be able to be comfortable. We should all be able to live beyond a struggle. It's not to say that people won't struggle, people won't have issues, because we always will. However, I think that that's the base layer of everything. Then everybody could do, like let's just say after COVID, it kind of like set the model up, I think. People are entrepreneurs a lot more now. You're seeing a lot of cell phone businesses. You're seeing a lot of people do stuff with what they're good at, their talents. So the reason why I'm the boss is because first, yeah, it's my company. And what I want to do is to be able to go around the world, whatever, and hire anybody I want just to do what they love to do. And that could be music, or it could be whatever. I wanted to create a sketch comedy variety show, which is what we call We'd Be Famous. And so what I was thinking in my mind, this is like before the internet really took off, I wanted to have like a hub of all the artists, not just music artists, but like all the artists, people who creators, if you will. All the creators would be connected to this hub, and we would show them what we're good at or what our passion is. And it's like almost like MySpace meets Facebook meets Shopify. So, like, we'd all be able to shop ourselves to, willing markets.
Is this in a world, though, where we have all these basic necessities for us? Or is this before that?
That's
happens?
Before that.
Okay.
That way, we could get a piece of the pie without having to just get you for free.
I like that idea of, universal income.
Yeah, it's a socialist view is what I was told. And I was like, first of all, I don't do politics. Second of all, I don't know what the fuck socialism is. But now, fast forward to where we are today, obviously I do know. But I feel like the universal income is eventually gonna come, but it might not be the way that I envisioned it. But yeah, so
well, it's good for people like us who have hobbies.
Right.
So if you're someone who just goes to work and comes home and watches Netflix, you're probably not going to succeed in that type of. You're not going to have a purpose. But if people who are creative, have hobbies, go out and do things rather than get doom scrolled on their phone.
Is this now saying that there's two types of people in the world? The doers and the ones that don't do anything? But here's the thing: even even the ones that aren't doing anything are literally doing something, and that's why I say it's like fake people are real too.
I like that. It's
Yeah.
a T-shirt.
Right. Every single thing that comes out of my mouth that sounds like catchy or something, I'm like, we need a bumper sticker, we need a T-shirt. So now you're on the same wave, like, easy. At the time when I was busting out the We Be Famous stuff on the OG shit, I was winging it. I had coffee. I busted the sticker on the coffee. I was like, it's We Be Famous coffee. I was thinking monetize everything, every single thing we can. And now it's getting to a point where this is actually happening. But it's happening not on one single location. It's happening kind of... I would say globally, but
global small business.
Right. All these things are on the rise. It's all in the up and up, which makes me actually even more motivated now to start to actually do this stuff, because I have a lot of stuff written. I have thousands of videos of content, but this is all kind of along the way what has happened, which brings us to this podcast. And I can tell you I have records of certain stuff, what I was up to, or what I was working on, or what project was taking precedence in my life, and then it all came to a stop.
Let me ask you this: would you have done things differently from 25 years ago when we were hanging out? If you could go back in time, would you do things differently, or would you stay on the same path?
Stay on the same path. I don't care about doing anything differently, because the way it happens, this is all organic. Whether we choose to admit that or not, our choices, especially if they're impulsive, this is reality. Reality TV is what I believe got me to go on this path. because fuck reality TV. It's not even real. It's scripted. It's bullshit. I wanted to be out there. You know how we have all these influencers now and like YouTubers and this and that. I was the guy in the streets being like, "Hi, this is me, and I'm recording live from We'd Be Famous headquarters," which is literally any fucking where I am.
Tom Green.
Right. Remember the
OG.
Trent Park show when they wrote that on the wall in the gymnasium because we were doing spirit night? Yeah, see, and I was like, why the fuck is anyone even talking about me? But it was probably because of the talent show. Yeah, full circle.
Trent
That's
Park
cool.
show.
Yep.
Imagine like YouTube didn't come out till what,
Right.
2008 or something, or even later
Probably
than that?
now, like 04 when we were graduating, right around
Okay.
there, maybe-ish.
So maybe that's what I always envision.
Okay.
Imagine you went Trent Park show
Yeah.
right when something on MySpace.
Right. And that's funny you say that because like imagine if I did the variety show and this and that. That's like Chappelle's show right there then before Chappelle's show. It's like we can still take a model and go after it. We can still do this stuff. What I'm always worried about is somebody having the same exact idea and then it comes out. This happens frequently, by the way. I'll say something and then it literally will happen. Here's a perfect example. I have an audio recording called Jesus the Video Game. 3 of my friends, or no, sorry, I'm one of my own
You would
friends.
come up with that. That's brilliant.
Listen, it's fucking hilarious. I think I should play it, but I don't think it's even on the phone. I have it on a computer. Long story short, we're all smoking weed, just chilling. I'm playing Keno at the store, just vibing with my friends, doing our thing, right? And we literally, it was me just starts taking off and be like, introducing Jesus, the video game, right? And I'm thinking, it's a life RPG. You can do whatever you want. We're saying funny shit. It's like, my other friend starts going off saying other stuff, somebody like Moses or like, the 10 Commandments, whatever. They're hitting talking points about the Christianity as I'm still ad-libbing and I'm still going through it, right? And then it starts getting ridiculous because the third kid is just, different. And he was just like, the burning bush or something. He was like, be like Snape, talk to snakes. And like just silly shit, right? So I'm just making it up as I go. We're all laughing. It's a great little audio. We'll probably share it at some point. And then another friend of mine who this is weird because we're all connected because we were all smoking weed at the time, which is even better because we'd be famous. So maybe that means all of us can be famous. Anyhow, talked to him, maybe even showed him that recording.
Did someone make that game?
He literally contacted me and said, they have a game where you can be Jesus. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? And like, maybe it's not what we were saying, or like, not exactly. But imagine, let's say, like, it's like Skyrim, but Jesus. And I'd say some dumb shit, like the 12 apostles, or like, I don't know. It was actually fucking great. So,
I'm just picturing South Park doing
right,
that.
Right.
And then it's like
very South Park vibes in it, because I was like introducing something else after it. I was like, something about Jesus Land, part 4. It started getting really, really shot off,
I'm just checking time to see if we're good, if we still got camera
Okay.
footage. Oh, we're cruising, dude. We got an hour of
okay, that's pretty cool.
Left.
Perfect. So anyways, I say that shit about Jesus the video game, joking around, not even saying it should happen. Boom. He's like, it already happened. And I was like, I wasn't let down or mad or anything because this is the way the world works. But something as obscure as that can happen. That means anyone's ideas, like we're all connected to the collective consciousness, okay? We don't draw unnecessary... we draw from source, the creation. We're all creationists.
I like that. That's flattery. Like using inspiration from someone else is flattering.
Yeah, because they say imitation is the best form of flattery.
Okay, that's what I meant to say.
Right. And like, I would always tell people like, we're gonna do this, this, and this, but we're gonna do it our way. Because if you deliver it differently in such a way, that's what makes people eat it up. That's what makes people like want to get in on that action. Because A, it's new. B, it's fucking exciting. C, it could be just something interesting. I don't know. Why do people like what they like? Is it because of who we are or what we were brought up around, or a mix of both? It's nature, nurture, etc.
That makes me think because we're 80s and 90s kids.
Yep.
That's the way we think.
Okay.
I don't know. Is it Gen Z right now?
We'd have to interview those kids.
Do they see a filter and want to use that filter, or do they see that and go, that's copycatting, let's do our own way of filter?
Interesting. That's interesting, because here I am being like, an 80s kid and being like, I don't use any of that like technology. Fuck society's whatever they're up to. I'm not up to it. I'd be like, nope, I don't care. I know what a filter is, obviously, but I've never been like, let me change my filter beyond like the first day of Instagram, which I barely even use anymore. Like, I don't usually even go on Facebook often.
It seems like poser-ish.
Like, I used to be a Facebook every day posting my fucking thoughts. People are like, it's not a journal. I'm like, but it is my journal.
It's an
like,
external hard drive.
Yeah, this is an extension of who the fuck I am. I made a post way back being like, yo, if you don't like my shit and like what I say, then don't fucking pay attention to it. And that's the thing about We Be Famous. Want to start it with a disclaimer. Because we're aiming to offend every fucking person that exists. Maybe not, because if we offend everybody, no one's going to buy it. But this is the joke. I want to be like, this is the disclaimer. You don't have to watch it. You can turn away now. The choice is yours. It's about to start. If you really ain't ready for this shit, please don't even talk about it. Or, you know what I'm saying? Because cancel culture, everything. But I wanted to cut to a fucking group of like 20 little kids being like, bye. Put that in there. And then people are like, wait a minute. Like, what the fuck was that? And it's like, should we even watch this?
I don't think We'd Be Famous would be that offensive, because
right, especially nowadays. 20 years
you've
ago,
got creative ideas.
20 years ago,
it's comedy. It's
okay.
It's a mix of everything.
Should I tell you like an idea? I don't know. Like, did you see any of my BuzzBee random videos?
I remember seeing something, but what I want to ask is, okay, so you had this vision. Mm-hmm. It's great stuff. What's the future?
Okay.
You're only 40, like me.
Right. I'm gonna be 40. I feel like now is the time, because like, all right, check it. I've been homeless, since April, whatever, and I feel like getting proverbial like pushed out of the nest. This has set me on the path to live my life and do the things that I want to do, because I gave up a lot of my personal freedom in my life to serve my family. Family has kept me here in the city. I took care of my sister's kids for 5 years on my own with my grandmother's help, because, she helped with the monetary funds and everything, but I did all the action. I made sure the kids got to where they needed to go, doctor's appointments, took care of their health, helped them get healthy, taught them plenty of things, homeschooling, and all the shit happened because of COVID, boom, then. I was not ready to be a teacher, and here I was, like, back in the We Be Famous, like, kind of like takeoff heyday, which got fizzled out. I was like, I'm going to be that guy who's like positive role model for all these kids. And then it's like, boom, I'm right off set and I'm doing fucking dumb shit, like smoking cigarettes. And that's funny because it actually came to fruition,
Like, you're saying you were Uncle Dad?
The Dunkle. Daddy Uncle. Yeah,
like that.
the Dunkle. So they'd be like, no, you're the Dunkle. And then I came up with this one where I was like, I'm a Daddy Uncle Mommy guy. So at the end of the day, please don't tell me I was anything other than a dumb uncle. Daddy Uncle Mommy guy. Dumb uncle.
Are you
and I'm not just a dumb uncle, by the way.
Do you still have a nice relationship with your sister's kids?
My niece actually reached out to me, gave me a call the other day, and that was the first time she ever, on her own, outside of us living together with grandma or needed something, Uncle, this is happening, or give me a call. That was the first time she ever reached out to me to just say, hey, well, how's it going? And that made me feel really good. I definitely made an everlasting imprint and impact on their lives. And, it's all about love, man.
Kids think about it later in life, too. They might not
absolutely.
appreciate it at the moment.
Right. And like, I'll be brutally honest, I kind of was forced into it. I didn't have a choice. We don't need to talk about that or whatever, but, basically, kids got dropped off at the house, and next thing you know, I am the Daddy Uncle Mommy guy. Grandma did a great job helping, though. She meant well, but she was so old school, she'd be like, saying stuff that didn't make sense, or like trying to get the kids to she was OCD. She loves her house super pristine clean. And once those two kids started living there, oh man, it wasn't the way Grandma liked it. She didn't like noise, She was, 78, 79. God rest Grandma's soul. She passed away this year.
Sorry.
It's all good, man. This is life. We all pass. Yeah. Somebody on the way here, this, not to flip it or whatever, but I made a comment. I said, the people who cheer for like another person's death, I was like, you're like, I didn't say these words. I didn't say like you're an effing hypocrite, but I did say like you're no better than that person you're cheering dead, because you're lowering your vibration to that level to cheer for somebody who just fucking lost their life. And like, I'm not trying to be edgy and be like, stand up for shitty people, And then after making this post, I saw that Hulk Hogan died, and I was like, whoa, what? And somebody commented on my thing being like, don't pretend somebody's not a shitty person, or like those things just don't go away. And I was like, well, that's not my point, because my point was essentially, yeah, the shitty person is a shitty person. I'm not going to like stand up and be like, the wrong things that person did is okay. Somebody commented though and said, I hope he rots. He was a racist piece of trash. And I didn't comment this yet, but I wanted to literally comment, we all rot. Because ain't that the truth?
Did Ozzy's passing have any type of
Yeah. So
emotion?
the reason why I posted what I posted was actually because I saw a mutual friend of mine say like, what the fuck's up with this Ozzy shit? You're gonna care about him now? Like, fuck you. He was just this and this and this. In fact, no. This is the one part where I'm gonna pull the phone up, because this was happening right before I got here, and I was like, why would he post this? And it kind of made me think about something, right? Which is funny. Because he posted it to be edgy. He didn't post it because it was his opinion. It's not how he feels about it, right? That's what inspired me to make my post. And then I started having some other ideas, which, hold on, screenshots are not the camera. But essentially, yeah, Ozzy was like, I saw Ozzy plenty of times. I saw Black Sabbath several times. And as like legends, in the music industry, in the business, as idols, not idols because I don't have idols, I guess. I would say as, influencers, people you look up to, maybe role models, sure, but idols. This is the funny part. He literally said, I'll be the one to say it. Who gives a fuck Ozzy died? He said, seriously, you're all now concerned? You can all suck shit, and I'm glad he's dead. And he hashtag finally. And I was reading it, and I was like, what the fuck's wrong with him? And I posted it under it. I was like, what? Because I didn't, it was surprising me that I was like, oh, wow, he feels that way, right?
Ozzy's probably okay with him passing. He lived his life the way he wanted to.
He absolutely is. But I just thought this was fucking hilarious because he legitimately made a comment to reply to where I said, what? And I just want to get what he also said. Here we go. He was like, yes, I literally posted this just to piss people off. And goes on to say, I'm sorry I'm a punk. I grew up listening to Black Sabbath. I had a friend suggest that I defriend him because of this post, LOL, and I did. So, that part was great because, I was like, yo, that's why I love you, bro.
Trying to get under people's skin.
Right, you want to get a rise out of somebody.
If you know them, they're probably like, oh.
Here's the problem. You got to know your audience, because when I was doing, the We'd Be Famous stuff, if I'm acting all crazy in public, doing certain things to, record and this and that, who's to say that anyone else knows that's what you're doing? All of a sudden you got somebody thinking you're having a mental health issue, or you're in public, and the next thing you know, you're getting hemmed up for trying to create something. Never mind being possibly a disturbance or taken as a threat or anything like that.
Chris Park's marketing tip of the day: know your audience.
Right. I was told that actually in a hospital where I should have known my audience, and I am no longer allowed at Foxwoods Resort Casino.
That's probably for the best.
Yeah, it had nothing to do with gambling. Nothing to do with cards.
Just bugging out at Foxwoods.
Something like that. I essentially wanted a vacation. The boss wanted a vacation. And yes, I was officially the boss at this time. And I was like, yeah, all right, let's go. I got free rooms because Foxwoods was cool. They took care of me. And I was able to be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, all free. And I was just driving, going back to the city, doing my own thing, having different friends come out, doing this, party one night, drink one night, whatever. I got some rooms. I didn't even do them until the last night, and that leads into this little story. I was trying to help a hippie chick, hula hooper girl, and, let's just say it didn't end well.
Help her with what?
Well, she needed a place to stay, so I was like, I still got the hotel, and then, her and I went down, we were there, several times throughout the week, but it ended up that the last night, she had, dropped some acid, and I didn't know about it, and then I gave her shrooms. Because she wanted them, whatever. I'm not contributing to somebody's delinquency, but anyways, it turned out like some wild shit. I don't know if I should even say this on podcast or not, but
she didn't handle it well.
No, I think I didn't handle it well because at this time I'm on day 3 of a bender. She starts being loud, obnoxious in the morning, or I said something and it kind of tweaked her out because we were both starting to come up on the hallucinogenics, right?
don't know, but
never done them.
Continue.
Anyways, yeah, sure, it's in me. Like I ate some shrooms, sure, and like I hadn't done them in a long ass time, and I had already got them for like, friends or from a friend, and like some people like, yeah, they were good, whatever. So I took them. This all starts happening. I start being a weirdo. I have like lights on the wall. My guitar's chilling, whatever. And somewhere along the line, like I was like, I'm a goat, like saying like like a billy goat though, because like I had a huge beard at the time, and she started kind of just tweaking, and then she starts being loud. So then as she's like being loud, I'm like, why don't I be loud? It's like 6 a.m. She's like, whatever. I don't know what she said, but I'm like, mommy, just started screaming. Just whatever, So next thing you know, the neighbors are involved, which are across the hall. And she's like trying to bang at the door. And I was like, just get out of here if you're going to freak out, right? And she's like, I need my inhaler. At this point, I didn't know she even fucking had an inhaler. I had no idea where it could be. The guy is in the hallway with her. Be like, she needs her inhaler. I was like, I don't give a fuck. I don't know what the fuck y'all are doing. So anyways, I go to the hotel fucking thing, which is by what I mean by this is the telephone in the room. I call down there and I'm like, hey, can we have somebody come check on her? I like just want to make sure she's okay. I'm doing my part as like the concerned friend who's like, all right, this girl's tweaking. I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know these people. But all of a sudden, maybe 5 minutes go by, not even, and we start hearing boom, 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 or I start hearing boom, 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 Will, boom. Will, open up. We just want to talk to you. And I'm like starting to actually trip at this point. And I'm like standing in the room and I just keep hearing them banging and they're saying, Will. And I'm so confused because I'm like, who the fuck is Will? I don't know. Anyways, I look out the people and there were like 3 or 4 security, whatever. And I'm like, fuck. And they're like, we just want to talk to you. And I'm like, oh my God, it's starting to trip balls at this point. And, I literally was like, I don't want to talk. I'm not going to talk. I was like, I'm scared. And they were like, no. I was like, I'm not going to.
6 a.m.?
Yep, 6 a.m. And I was like, I'm only going to talk if you get I was like, you need to get my mom. And like, so they keep banging. And at that point, like, I was like, do I answer the door? Do I do this? And like, I literally diarrheaed myself because I had Mexican the night before, was drinking alcohol, and ate those mushrooms. And I'm being type 2 diabetic. That's probably a really bad combination. So I had a lot of high sugars probably. I literally shit everywhere because I was not sure if I should go take this shit and ignore them or like answer the door. So at this point, I'm ass naked and I'm like, whatever, this happened. And I went up to the people. They blocked it. I was like, oh, fuck. At that point, went to the next room, locked that shit up. I'm in the bedroom. I was definitely saying some crazy shit. Probably shouldn't have been saying. Definitely made them come after me. All right? I'm literally stepping into the bathroom, again, naked. I believe I had a orange plastic cap gun in my hand. And whatever I was saying is
For
what
defense.
I was saying. Yeah, right. Something like that.
Self-defense.
Oh, no, probably not. Anyways, that's what I should have been using that for. But I said something I probably shouldn't have said. And next thing you know, and I'm talking this, it was 4 feet from the fucking bathroom is the door that's locked. I literally go to like slide the bathroom door shut. I'm about to lock it and it's ripped the fuck out. I was literally ripped out so motherfucking fast. Guys roughing me up, cuffs me like instantly. And I'm like, oh fuck, what the fuck? I'm like, why are you being so rough? And like, let me just say they probably had, perfect reason to be so rough. He's holding me, and he's got me, like, on the bed. Keep in mind now, I'm poop-covered and naked. And I'm being like, what,
So
why?
you don't really know what you're doing.
No, I
at
do,
this
fully.
point.
At this point, I'm literally like, I know I'm not tripping balls yet. I'm like, I'm going to fuck with these guys because what else should I do? I wasn't just going to, I surrender, I'm fine. Nope. At this point, he's holding me. Lieutenant's in the doorway. He's doing like a crab stance, and he goes, looks at me, sizes me up, and he's like, shh, he's on something. And I was like, oh, here we go. So at that point, I literally was like being ridiculous. There's a woman outside fucking crying like a stewardess, not a stewardess, but like, whatever, hotel, whatever they are. Not security, someone who worked for the hotel. Yeah, maybe. She was out in the hallway crying, and I was like, you ever seen some shit like this before? I was like, yo, put a fucking dollar on the ground right now, and I'll cut this shit out. I will stop. Well, obviously, that didn't work. And I said something about needing like extraordinary amount of money. The cop guy was all like, well, what do you need that money for? And I was like, a really good lawyer. So at that point, I'm like tired as fuck. I've been up for days. And like I said, I drank the shrooms, whatever.
Alcohol.
Yeah. So at that point, I was like, in my mind, I'm like, I'm so fucking tired. I can't keep up with this. I can't keep doing, putting on the show for the guys. Whatever. I literally like, I'm ODing. And I was just like, fucking keeled over, passed out. Next thing you know, I'm like, ah! They hit me with fucking adrenaline, and I'm just like, yo, I don't know. This is exactly what happened from that moment on. I remember breathing like that and being like, what the fuck? And then instantly passing out again because they were trying to pick me up and put me on the stretcher. They dropped me. Now I'm motionless on the floor, and I wake up. I don't know how long it's been. I can't move at all. And I'm seeing flashes. They're talking. I can't understand what they're saying. And no fucking lie, bro. I was not tripping balls. The hotel fucking alarm clock goes off. And the song that's playing, guess what it was?
War Pigs.
That would have been awesome, but it was Stairway to Heaven.
Oh.
And like, I'm laying on the floor and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. In my head, I'm thinking to myself.
Wait, none of that happened?
No. This all happened.
Oh, okay.
I'm still laying on the floor, hearing the Stairway to Heaven, and I'm like, I don't know why I can't move. It was probably whatever
the alarm went off in the room.
Yes, whatever they hit me with made me fucking sedated. They were probably worried that I was gonna go do wild shit. So I mean, yeah, why wouldn't you if you got a person hallucinating and like being weird and like, you know, making people think shit.
So you were hallucinating or you weren't?
Here's the best part. They cuffed me behind my back this entire time. They eventually are picking me up off the ground and get me onto the stretcher. They put me with my hands behind my back. And at the time they put me there, I remember being lifted off the ground and my eyes are closed. And I was like, yo, this is like being at Six Flags on a roller coaster I don't want to be on, but I just got to go for that ride. They put me on the stretcher. They get me out. They go into the hallway. I'm into the elevator. We got a girl now doing sternum rubs, thinking that I was ODing. And like, no, I don't fuck with that shit. I was just fucking with them, and I shouldn't have said that. So she's sternum rub. And I'm like, what are you doing? And then she says something in the elevator. Was like, your girlfriend said this, and I was like, I don't have a girlfriend. They were like, yep, he's cooked. But the fucked up shit is like, no, she wasn't my girlfriend. I didn't have a girlfriend. So I fall asleep. They get me to the mental institution, hospital, wherever they took me, slamming me off shit because they were mad at me for what I did. Whatever. They get me into a room, and I am now handcuffed, probably behind my back still, but there's a bar on the wall. I'm looking at the bar, and this is when I started to see the trails and like actually be tripping like that. And I was like, in my mind, I'm like, no, man, then why right now? This is happening now. The guy's in the fucking corner in the doorway, and he's like, no, if we're gonna handcuff you, you're not gonna run, right? And I was just literally like, no, like where the fuck am I gonna try to run to? First of all, like you guys are in the room, I can't get out anywhere else, so like why would I do that? I'm already here. So they uncuff me. Dude, my hands, bro, were fucking seriously, they were the bigger, like, this is a good thing. No. Let's just say 1.5. And I'm putting that back there because I now realize that was dangerous. So anyways, we'll watch that movie later. But the end of this movie is cool because they uncuff me, then 2 ladies have to wash me. Turns out I was wrapped up in the hotel fucking blanket, and also this blanket that the girl had brought. It was like a sheet from childhood. I think it was the fucking Ninja Turtles bed set that we used to have when we were kids. You know, shout out to Ninja Turtles. That's even funnier. But it was wrapped up in what I was wrapped up in, my poop-covered cocoon, whatever it was. And they had to wash me, and I was like, yeah, this shit's following me. It's like, that was a bad trip. Like, the girl's fucking security blanket's with me at the hospital. I was like, this is nuts. So they washed me, and I just rested the whole day. I had a guy ask me questions, and I'm like, oh, yeah. I was like, this girl got me a drink last night, and I was trying to help her out, and, well, we all know the rest of that. So I literally, from memory, called my sister's house at the time. I think I was actually living there. So, of course, I knew the house number. Funny part was my mom was up visiting the kids and my sister. And I was like, let me talk to her. And it was like, you got to come get me. She was like, what the fuck did you do? And I was like, I'll tell you when you get here. She comes. She picks me up. They were like, we think that he might have a mood disorder. And then the woman, the doctor, was like, you need to be careful of like how you act around other people. And I was like, well, why the fuck is that any of their business? And like how I act and what I'm doing. But now, fast forward to now, like we can totally understand why that's a thing and mental health becoming such a prominent issue in society. You can't just act fucking out of control crazy and have people be fine with it.
Unless you're famous.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Right.
Yeah,
or if you have money.
Or
which are kind of the same thing.
Okay.
No, but my joke was always, we're all famous, we just don't know it yet.
So were you acting more outrageous because of the persona?
Yes, trying to achieve. So that was going into it, but I mean, I also was on a bender, and like, but I purposely did the things I did and said what I said to get reactions out of people, or to like just make it interesting. Funniest fucking part, no, most unfortunate part, I had a tripod in the corner the entire time and I should have recorded all of it. I didn't. So when my mom picks me up and we get me out of the psych unit, by the way, 12 hours, no one can beat that record.
In and out.
Yeah, I was like in there.
Too smart for them.
I got there in the
not to
morning
convince
and
them,
I was
but-
out at night. My mom, she gave me her woman's jacket. I wore a pair of blue scrubs they gave me, drove me back to Foxwoods. I got all my shit. Turns out they stole a lot of my shit or whatever. Shit happened. And that's not even like legal or illegal. Like I'm talking like a sweet ass hat they stole. They stole my leather jacket. Like they were fucking obviously pissed at me. I get a thing in the mail saying, if you step foot on Foxwoods grounds, it will be considered trespassing and you will be arrested immediately. And so I have not been back there since. Don't test it because they will arrest you. You need a written letter from security to actually allow you back on the property. Because if you don't have it, you're done. So they charged me with nothing apparently because I got a thing in the mail saying, we'll contact you about this. And I was paranoid. I missed a court date in Connecticut. So I called them like months later, and they're like, hold on, put me on hold. And I'm sitting there and like at my grandmother's house in the basement on the phone being like, oh, fuck, I don't know what's going to happen, And then they come back and they're like, they decided not to pursue the charges. And I was like, oh, wow, that's great. Still haven't gone back, still haven't gotten permission to go back. But while my aunt was dying of cancer, I actually reached out to them and was like, she wants to go play bingo and she wants me to go with her, which they denied. Because they're fucking assholes, apparently. They even wrote me back being like, Dear Mr. Parker, after careful consideration, we can not, accommodate your request. And I was like, first of all, who the fuck's Mr. Parker? And does that mean I can go? Haven't tested that yet either. So, long story short, banned from Foxwoods. It happens. Sometimes you do some shit and you're not allowed back. Yeah.
I want to say this without being rude.
No, go ahead, please.
Will there be another episode in the future like this? Or was that like a one and done and you're like, okay, I got it out of my system?
Honestly, like, there's nothing has ever come in close to comparison to that event. No matter where I was or how effed up, drunk, whatever, what setting, nothing else in my life has come close to that. Will there be another one? I would say no, but, I'm old enough to know better, but young enough to do it again. Which is a funny thing I like to say.
I get you.
Yeah, right. I feel like we're going to actually go to Mohegan. You could be part of this. And we're going to reenact all of that. We're doing it on the other property though, so they can't say shit. But we're gonna pretend to have their fucking security. We're gonna actually do it almost exactly what happened. But I want to add some shit in there to make it wicked funny and stupid, whatever. That's the idea of We Be Famous.
When my old roommate turned 33, he wanted to have a Jesus on the Cross themed birthday party.
What the fuck? Because Jesus was 33, but yo.
We're like,
did you do it for him?
We're like, dude, I don't know if we want to do that. I mean, he was just kidding.
No, all right. Well, that's the thing. You can't tell when somebody's kidding because here's another thing I like to say.
He painted these two paintings, so that maybe you could get some insight into who he is.
Yeah. I'm either seriously joking or I'm jokingly serious. And it's up to you to figure out which.
I know you, so I have a feeling about your personality from you can't hide who you are in high school. Like
right.
Like, no, even if you want to be the coolest kid in school and you're not, people will know.
Okay.
So that's why I love this concept because I feel like I want to see if people have changed or if they're the same. Because I think I'm the same.
I think I'm the same too. Like some things may have changed. When we first began, I said some things are rigid about me, fixed. That also goes along with astrology. I'm a Scorpio. Scorpios are known to be very rigid and very they be scornful, sure, but very they're not going to budge on what they believe in. And for my whole life, that's kind of 99% true. However, if new knowledge is presented to me and something, makes sense to change, obviously I'm going to make the right choice. But not every time. Sometimes people are stubborn. Sometimes people don't want to change. Sometimes people are afraid of change. But change is the only thing that is constant and forever.
So I think you have to accept failure too because if you can accept failure, you can move forward past it and you can succeed.
Yeah, absolutely. But every failure that is out there, like, is possibly the next step to a great success. And the moral of the story here is, you fail. Like, all right, here's the quote.
Failing's fun. Don't be depressed
Right.
if you fail.
Well, you only become a failure when you stop trying, or like you only become a failure when you acknowledge yourself as one, I guess.
Flip it too. The second you put something out into the world, you succeeded. I think Rick Rubin says something like that.
Okay.
So it doesn't even need to be your best work. It's just
Right.
putting it out there.
Right.
Is a success.
Yeah,
That's
because you did it, you made it. But who cares if you make money off it or not? That's something whole else. So like, yeah, the most beautiful thing in life is really the gift of life, and the fact that we are allowed to create and shape and mold our reality in any way we so choose. Never mind what we do for fun, or what we do because we like it, or it's our hobby or our work. Just the fact that we could do it all is literally the best part. I mean, it could be the worst part too, but that all depends on the choices you make and who the fuck's there to see it.
Did you? Those notes suck.
No. We didn't even need them.
That's why they suck.
No.
Because I thought I could use them. Look,
we used them, but we didn't need to reference it.
True.
See, guys, dude, we talked about almost every talking point on here.
This is the part of the podcast where the roofies I put in your water start to work. And we could cause another episode like you were describing.
Oh, shit. Did you get that girl's number? Is she coming too?
She's behind the TV.
That was my first Mrs. Bossy. Actually, I've never been married, but it was a cool joke. I was like, whatever, we're rolling together. You know,
Mrs. Bossy.
I had my fucking ex-girlfriend be like, yo, she's like druggy hoe of the nation.
Druggy hoe of the nation.
And like, she was like, I can't believe you're hanging with her.
You're like, I respect that. You said that.
No, I did, but you know, it's a sad story. Like, that was like, you know, the Romeo and Juliet fucking, I don't know, man.
That's why you're talking about Macbeth when we walked in here.
The Sisters of the Fates. It's because shit's weird, guys. And weird is good. Weird means it was fated to be, which is what we just did. This must have been fated to be. You know, we made the choices to come here and make it work right now. But the fact is, it all happened right now. And we literally showed up to do a certain thing. We accomplished it. It was successful. Yo, look.
It's sticking up.
I do that shit with money all the time. I'll flip money on the fucking counter for the guy to pay, and we'll just stand up. And I'm like, how the fuck does that happen? Anyways.
That's an interest. That could be your daily video. Like,
if I'm doing it.
Anytime you go buy something,
right.
you just
try to do it and see if I get it. That's like a boss thing, right? Yeah. I actually was in the store today looking, and here's the best part. I don't even know really, truly why. I think the reason, all right, I'm the boss because I'm the creator, the inventor, the writer for We'd Be Famous. That's why I was like, I'm the boss, because obviously someone's got to be in charge and make sure everyone else is doing shit. 20 years ago, I had folders for each friend. I was like, here, Jaybird, AJ, Mike, Dave. I had written parts for them. I had different things, different ideas of what we were going to do. And like, we just never did it. You remember Road Rules and what was the other show on MTV? Real World?
Real World.
Okay,
Rules, yeah.
so
Till it got stupid.
we're going to take, let's say, hypothetically, even me, the boss, I need to make an audition video to be on We'd Be Famous. So we're like spoofing ourselves. We're spoofing all kinds of shit.
Can I film that video?
Yeah. Like, honestly, I want everyone, like, it could be from home or it could be whatever. But, like, you remember that show. So essentially, yeah, like, we need auditions. Here's another thing I thought of. I wanted to go to a rave and have a very large cardboard cutout TV and just basically post up and start like doing interviews, kind of similar maybe to something like this, but not necessarily, because they're strangers, complete strangers, you know, and it'd be like, this is part of the footage we're getting. We got to go to certain places and whatever, you know. You remember the sticker? That's badass though, bro.
You should go to like the supermarket.
Right.
Most of the TV.
Oh, no. We
ladies.
should put that outside. Well, see, we're not going to get the crowd. This is the Tom Green, Trent Parks fucking shit that would happen. If you set up a big TV like that outside a grocery store, you'd have the most awkward shit. But honestly, that might be the best, you know? We'll get kicked out of there, and we'll probably get a trespassing by the end of the day. But
what do you think on a scale from 1 to 10, how... Like 10 being I'm going to absolutely do this, and 1 being like I'm never going to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Like moving forward, Are you gonna pursue doing like more boss content or we be famous? What was it?
Yeah, We'd Be Famous or Busby Random.
Oh, Busby Random.
Busby Random is the guy that needs to talk when I'm about to say some shit that I probably shouldn't say. Because, who's going to judge a little pipe cleaner B? Everyone's going to judge a bearded white guy. Like, everybody. Even the bearded white guys. Like, that ain't racist. We're just, dumb.
Or, like, philosophical type things.
Right.
Or just
and, like,
talking.
I don't truly believe, like, skin color denotes anything. But the fact is, racism is alive and, like, still exists today. And, like, that sucks. That's just the same thing as all the other shit in the world that sucks, Like...
Because you want, like, a equally... Like you said, you're not political, but
right.
socialism. You
right.
kind of want like
I want everybody to be equal. That's literally it. Like the thing is, like we all have this opportunity. At least in America, capitalist society, where we can go out and work for whatever we want. It all depends on what you want to put in is what you're going to get out of it. And ironically, if you take the science, the formula for work is, whatever it is. It's work, work equals, what is it? Like intensity over time, something like that. Are you familiar? You remember when we were in school learning that?
Kind of.
All right, cool. At least you know what I'm trying to say. Because sometimes I don't fucking even know.
Yeah.
But it has been pretty fucking rad so far. Am I supposed to be asking you questions or is this...
I was going to end with that. I said,
all right.
On the way here, you were probably thinking, like, were you thinking to ask me anything?
No,
I told you. This dude is fucking weird. No. He's probably changed, or he hasn't changed at all. I could tell just by the way he reached out to me.
I didn't think anything remotely close. In fact, on the way here, I was doing that Facebook thing, which made me think of something to talk about or whatever, which we didn't even necessarily talk about. I did mention it, but I was like, that's something. It's like, I didn't worry about it. We had our chat before, the whatever it was, Uber, Lyft, whoever it was came and picked me up. And it was like, okay, I got a vibe. I already had the vibe before we fucking even talked. And, like, I knew, like, you had that. And, like, I was like, I don't need to make one then. Because improv, man, like, the best stuff is usually improv. And, like, that's in music. Maybe not life. Sometimes in life. I want to say I live my life like it's an art form. Because typically in... Genuinely, that's how I put myself out there. Sometimes you have to be well reserved and observant. Other times, feel free, spread your wings, fly, man. Like, we're here to enjoy this. We're not here to suffer. But the ironic part is, we are here to suffer. And I remember being in religion class, and they were like, the Passion of Christ, Miss Olson, to quote, said, is the suffering. And we all, everybody shares in that suffering. Because to live is to suffer. We can't just be perfect and harmonious and nothing's ever wrong. Then there would be like no anything. Nothing would exist. It would just be nothing. Because we wouldn't know either side. It's almost like, let's take yin and yang. There's light and there's dark. But then in the dark, there's that little seed of light. And in the light, there's that little seed of dark. And you can bring that back everywhere. That's just how the world works. Like... I'm not going to go like wildly religious or anything, but energy, yeah, it all goes back to energy, positive and negative. And I mean, sure, we got neutral too, but I mean,
can you think of anyone from your past that you would like to do this with?
Yeah, that kid I was going to say, my best friend before moving on to Holy Name, his name's Nikolai Baxter.
Shout out.
Shout out to Nikolai Baxter, And he was one of my closest friends growing up out in Paxton and going to that school. And we did, keep in touch for quite some time. In fact, when we recorded our original demo, I'd be asking him for advice on, how to set up mics or like, how do we do this? What kind of EQ and different type of, techniques can I use to, let's say, record drums. Like, he's always been an influence for me. Like, I looked up to him because he could play guitar, like, pretty fucking rad when we were like 10, 11. He's sitting there, he busts out like Fly Away by Lenny Kravitz, and it sounded just like it though. And I was like, man, that's cool. And like, I modeled my playing style after him doing that, because anything I play, I make sure it sounds like the recording. If it's a cover, I'm not going to half-ass it and let it sound like a lot of guitar players will be like, I can play this. They'll play it and you'll be like, that was it, but it didn't quite, sound like it or like vibe like it. When I pick it up, if you want to hear Metallica, I'm fucking making it sound like Metallica. That just to say that.
Do you know what this kid
what he's up to right now? I know that he actually won some Grammys producing music for some movies. I know he was out there in Igloo Studios. I went out. When I won that trip for, Korn and all that. Like I visited him when I was out there. It was cool, because like at that point he hadn't won the Grammys. He was working in Igloo Studios. Fast forward like up to now, like last I knew, he's working at Sony Studios, and it sucks because when I was out there, a different time after that, he was like, "Do you want to come to Sony Studios?" I told him no. I had other shit going on, whatever. But as far as I know, like he's happy, healthy, successful, and working in an industry that we both wanted to get into. We both actually had applied to Berkeley and got in. We took the tour to Berkeley together, and I couldn't go because it was just so damn expensive. But he went. He got through it all, and like that's where he is today. So it's actually like the most fucking close to me success story that I could tell, outside of when I referenced, earlier. But that wasn't close. This was childhood close friend come over to my house. We're playing N64, we're drinking, Pepsi, eating popcorn, meeting my other friends. And, yeah, man, like, I think that'd be cool, actually, to, I'd have to ask him all these things, right?
That's why I wanted to start the show. There's a couple kids I went to grade 1 through 6 with, and I used to take the public bus with them.
Okay.
And I can't find them on social media anywhere. So that's how I started thinking about this. I was like, how do I find this person?
Right. Somebody from my past that I have no fucking connection to. I think that shit a lot. And I think that shit about a lot of people because, like, there's misconnections. Remember when they had that online? Like, you put a fucking thing up and someone would respond?
Oh, yeah, on Craigslist?
Yeah. That was a thing. Still is a thing. It's fucking weird, but you're going to get scammed trying to get a fucking property or rent somewhere. So be careful on the internet, guys. In fact, be careful every fucking where.
Yeah, because I got to know what this kid is up to because he was a wild kid. Like, he took the nun's headrest off and, like, threw it down the stairs. Oh, shit. He definitely was, like...
Did Mike Conrad's go?
Yeah, he knows him. I asked him about him, too, and he said he doesn't know what's going on.
Damn.
But, like, kid who probably struggled with ADHD.
Right.
Was, like, wild.
There's so many of us that, like, are underdiagnosed or, like, don't even realize it. Like, to me, like, I'm not the asshole who's like, this is just who I am, you deal with it. No, like, I know why I do what I do, and I understand why sometimes I'll be fixed on something. Obsessive compulsive disorder is real. So is ADHD. So is depression, bipolar. All this shit's real. Like I said, fake people are real, too, so.
And I think hobbies can break us out of most of those
That's
things.
why I started writing, because I was depressed, and I wanted to express myself. So at least if the paper would listen... My heart would feel better.
Life is, like you said, struggle, it's pain, it's not easy, and that's what you do your whole life. Nothing's going to come easy in life. It's always a struggle.
Let me actually, if you don't mind, we could probably end with this. I'll share a piece with you. I wrote this, I don't know exactly how long ago, but we're getting, yeah.
All right, I'm going to vibe into it. I
think you should. It's definitely like a heavy piece of poetry. And it goes along with kind of what we were just saying, like, life is always going to be struggle. There's always going to be some sort of, adversity or challenge we have to overcome, right? I just need to...
Take your time, get it out.
Could I do... it's my phone screen's broken, so it might make it hard for me to read. Let me just change this a little bit. See what I'm saying? I got to get a new phone.
Same thing on my 2018 MacBook Pro.
Yeah, you've got like
3/4 of it
pixels.
is dead pixels, and so I do all my work on the right side.
All right. So before I start,
paraphrase.
No. This is actual. Like I won't be able to paraphrase that. It's not like that. It's an actual poem.
Are you gonna read it for us?
I will, but I had a guy randomly today be like, "I know that frog," and I was like, "The fuck are you talking about?" Because it's
Insane Clown Posse.
No, it's broken pixels on my friggin' phone, and like the guy literally says like this shape. He was like, I've seen that frog before. And I was like, what are you talking about? I was playing Keno at the store or whatever, right? And another guy, like, he said that to me. And I'm like, I'm trying to see it. I don't know.
It looks like the Insane Clown Posse thing. Or
it kind of does, too.
Yeah. Or it looks like...
Somebody said it looked like a stripper or something.
Like
or
like
Moai to me, it looks like people there, or maybe the Grim Reaper holding some chick. It's weird. Whatever you see is what you see. But just because you see something doesn't mean somebody else sees it the same. So,
like, I see a bear getting shot. See
right.
his head right there?
Oh, dude. It's gone now. Oh, no, it's there. I see Heisenberg.
From Breaking Bad?
Yes. Do you see the nose and the glasses right dead center, right below the blue streak right there? Do you see it?
That's wild.
Do you see it?
Well, not from this angle because...
Okay, but if you sit here at my angle, I'll see if you see it. But you know what? It looks like my car noise too with glasses on. Like dead center. You see the nose at least?
Okay.
Anyhow, like we could get into that shit forever. But let me, I wrote this September 30th, or it's the last time I actually edited it.
You're going to read it right now?
Yes.
Watch this.
Yeah.
We got to do this.
Okay, what do we got to do? Oh, shit. Lights out. It's pretty cool. Okay, so this piece, it comes from minimum of 2019. And it's called Timelines in Lifetimes. One more good cough because my balls need to get off. That's a joke. I don't even care. Celibate for the hell of it for life. If we had it... Oh, shit. What was that?
Sorry, wait right there.
What the fuck? Yo.
No, I'm cutting you off right as you're about to do that.
That's so fucking funny. Yo. What do we got? What is it?
Fake cigs.
Yo, that's mad funny. I wanted to smoke something. So anyway.
Let's do this.
Yeah, just like, yo.
All right, read it now.
This is what I'm going to do to quit, by the way. I'm going to use
carry
this.
a fake one?
Yeah, yo, it's an oral fixation. Anyhow, we got bands about to jam, so let's get it out. Timelines and lifetimes. If we had it all figured out, there would be no more doubt. There would be no need to scream of the things that we fight about. There would be no more hunger. There would be no more anger. There would only be love, and we would make it our anchor. We would find our reflection in our own resurrection. We would change our direction through mistakes with correction. We would give up discretion to blindly seek out perfection, because only the heart knows what is true through affection. There would be a belief that there would be a relief, that a planet of beasts could work towards a world peace. There would be no more sorrow. We would live for tomorrow. We would acknowledge the time, or our days as the time being borrowed. I can't read the screen. See, I'm fucking it up. It would have sounded so good if I didn't do it like that. Anyhow, we would let go of pain. We would never complain. We would take all of the shame and lay it down in a grave. But since nothing is certain, when we call the curtain, could we say that we lived with a passion and purpose? Were we tired and shirtless, worked weak and felt worthless? Did we live deeply, or did we just scratch the surface? Did we march in their circus? Did we beg to be perfect? Did we win the race, or did we just run the circuit? Did we let time desert us or waste thoughts on what hurt us? Or could we just say that it was simply all worth it?
This podcast was worth it.
Absolutely,
much
man.
love.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks
man. Like,
thanks for coming, man.
It definitely was chill vibe. Like, it's cool just even like having this going on. Yeah, right. Like, and I didn't even smoke mine. Guess what? Stomp it out. Quit.
Sick.